Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Surad Muhammad Sadat and today I will walk you through our second assignment of user interface design where we were tasked to draw a simple drawing application. So let's get started. Once I click on run file, it will load our application where there are various functions which we can use to draw paintings, such as we can use the pen function to draw symbols, make lines, etc. And we can use the eraser tool and select the brush size as well to erase our lines. Then we can also select the color of our lines using color. Let's say I want color to be red. Over here, it's red with a brush size of 20. I want to lower the brush size, then it's smaller. Let's say I want to remove all of this. I'll click on clear, and it's gone. And we can also use shapes as well. We can draw shapes such as a rectangle, an oval, and if we want, we can also fill the color of the shapes as well. Where when we click on fill and select a color picker, let's say I want the color of the rectangle to be black. I select the color to be black and then click here, it's black. Then I want the oval to be, let's say, red. It's already red, never mind. So select it to be green. Right here it's green. Then let's say I want to remove, I want to change, I want to like delete these shapes. Go step back, I'll click on undo. It's and the shape's gone. Click again, the shape's gone again. So let's say I've drawn, let's say on the pen function, then I've drawn these lines, wrote hi over here, and I want to save this. Let's click here and save it as Pickle user interface. Click on save, and I'll exit this. Now, where if I want to open the file, I'll click on open. Pickle user interface. Click on load, and see, it's loaded. And now I'll walk you through the code for application. So over here at first we've imported tkinter, imported color chooser, file dialogs. Then we've also imported pickle, which you use and for basically saving the data and opening it in the file actions category. We've called on root tk the title geometry and set the size of the graphical user interface report from 15 to 800. Then we've used the canvas method in tk and assigned it in the variable canvas. Then we set up the global variables color, such as the color, brush size, tool, then draw history and canvas editor used uh, for the undo and the clear canvas controls. Then X and Y are used for the cursor or mouse cursor. For example, here the X and Y are basically just coordinates. Then there's a temp function, and then we've set the default size. So when I first loaded the application, the default size of the brush was set to black using the set default pen size function. Then the start, draw, and draw functions are used as methods in the use pen function. Where here, when I click on pen, uh, it calls upon the use pen function to make lines and draw shapes basically. Then the use eraser function over here is the same thing as the use pen function, but instead of the color to be black, we select the color to be white over here and set it as a global variable. And we've set the tool to be pen as well. Then for the shapes, we this is basically to call upon the shapes function. Over here we've set the rectangles. We've we've created functions for rectangles, ovals, then used the use rectangle function to basically assign the creation of the function to another uh, to the mouse button basically, so that when I click on rectangle, it calls upon this initial draw rectangle function using the use rectangle function. basically. So it uses start. It basically calls upon the start shape over here, which selects the cursor, sets the temporary shape to be none. Then the draw rectangle function over here sets the temporary shape to the rectangle that it is. And the end shape basically sets the cursor uh, back to normal, basically the initial value, which is none over here. Over here we've set it to none, basically. Then same thing for oval, same thing for rectangle. Same thing for oval. Yeah, we've used oval in the same method, basically. Then here's the end shape function, which sets the temporary shape to none, as I was saying. So this is our color picker. We use the color chooser function in TK and set it to color. Then when we choose the color over here in the color picker, it assigns the color to the current color of our cursor. And the default was set to black, as we've seen before. Then this is the brush size over here. Initially, we've set the brush size to be 1 and the default size over here. Use the function to set it to 1. Then over here, using the change brush size function, we can use it to change the size of our brushes. And this is the save file and open file functions over here. We've set we've we've called upon the global variable canvas data so that it can be used in the file inside the function. Then call upon file name, set the default extension over here to be ECTS in the file tab, ECTS files. So if the file path is true, if the file path is true, then it will open a write file, then it would open the file as a write file, then dump all the canvas. Then using the dump function in pickle, it would save all the things written in the file in the in it would basically select all the items in the list canvas data inside the file, as we can see over here. The list canvas data, it would save it onto the file. Same for open file over here. Instead of read, it would, so instead of write, it would read the file, then then uh, load the file onto canvas data again. Then it would use the read draw canvas function, which is defined over here. So at first it deletes all the items in the canvas. Then for then we use a for loop in the canvas data to select which of the shapes were loaded. It goes through all the items in the file and iterates over them and loads all of them. Then over here we've used the undo function. We've defined the undo function, which is basically this one, which is used to let's say on these two things. I can use the undo function to remove them. Same for shapes. Let's undo to remove the shapes. Then over here is the clear canvas function, which is used to set the canvas function to uh, clear, basically. So remove everything. We've used a delete all method in canvas, and it also resets the undo and the draw history list and the canvas data list as well, so that everything is set to default values. And over here, the fill shape function is defined. For example, as we've seen before, if we draw a shape rectangle, and set its color to be red, and use the click on fill function. We can select the color of the rectangle. So we've done that using the fill function over here. We find the uh, fill shape using fill shape and use it to fill the color with the current color we had chosen from the color picker. Then we've said that. Then now let's go on to basically defining all the buttons. We've defined the function, and let's apply them onto the framework. We set the default values of the buttons, width to be 12 and height to be 2. We've created a create tool category, which is basically used to make it look nicer, like set it in shapes over here basically. Then the create tool category is called upon to draw frames for each of the topics. This is the draw frame, draw frame for this one, drawing tools. Set its name to drawing tools. And over here we've defined the three buttons, pen, eraser, and color picker, and called upon the use pen, use eraser, and the color picker, and set its height to the button height and width here. Then we packed it in the user interface. Now for the brush, the brush is basically this one, the brush size. Set its values and set it from 1 to 12 horizontal. Command is a change brush size, which we have defined. Next is this brush. This is the shapes category, which is this one. Over here we've done the same thing. Defined all the buttons for it and called upon the functions and set the values to be same as well. Then the next is the clear function. When we've used add buttons to toolbar to basically add it to the toolbar over here. We've set the color, we've designed a toolbar at the top, then basically added each of these frames, such as the brush frame, shapes frame, file frame, using the add buttons to toolbar. Then set the canvas below the toolbar and set the default pen size to be 1. We've basically called upon the default pen size, which we had defined at the very start, right here. Then that's it. We've used a root.main loop to run the TK path basically. That's it for our application. Thank you so much.